Welcome to Around the Rinks, your go-to hockey podcast.
We are back, another episode Around the Rinks. I'm Noah, joined by Liam and Reece. Just the three of us today. What's going on?
Three of us.
We just had a week break, and three of us are only showing up.
What a nice break it was, though.
Honestly, yeah.
We had some lovely summer weather.
Yeah, here in Edmonton, it's beautiful. I mean, it's like plus 30 every day. It's kind of great. It's almost too hot.
Noah's got
Unbearable. But yeah, this is what I've been doing for the last week, is pretty much just renovating this entire basement. It has been a grind, but got her done.
Nice.
We have a lot to talk about tonight. Some big news coming out of Edmonton. There's finally a GM that has been appointed. Before we do, though, I do want to quickly mention we are all Alberta boys, so our hearts go out to the city of Jasper and just the entire mess that's going on there. Such a historic. I've been there countless times in my life, and to see the pictures and the things that are coming out from there, just the devastating fires ripping through. It is beyond heartbreaking. So as Albertans, I think it's good to kind of like shout out a fellow Albertan. Hopefully all is well and make the best out of a really, really terrible situation. But yeah, some news coming out a little bit closer to home. The Edmonton Oilers have a brand new general manager.
Yeah, Stan Bowman. And this rumor, it's been a rumor for like the last month that this might happen. And then I think it was just like last week, I kind of saw rumors that it wasn't going to happen and they were going to go with a new guy, a person who's never been a GM before. But no, those were nothing, because Stan Bowman is now the general manager of the Edmonton Oilers. And
controversy.
There's a little bit of backlash on it. Personally, I don't like it. I feel like there's so many good candidates out there for general managers. There's so many different people in different organizations who could take this job. But I think the Oilers were just kind of looking at his. He wasn't really the best general manager when he was in Chicago. He kind of came into this like already great team. I think he won the Stanley Cup on his first year. But I think it's just those 3 cups was the reason why they leaned towards him. I guess he has some expertise in some, I don't know, but it's very controversial. I don't know what you guys think about it. I'm not a big fan of it.
I think if I'm an outsider, obviously, a bench player talking like a starter, but I think that this is a huge privilege to be the GM of an NHL team, and especially in a market like Edmonton, and it's not like some God-given right. And I think that when you make these kind of mistakes, I think it should be a lot easier to have this privilege taken away from you, in my opinion. But I think, Noah, you're exactly right. Like, there's so many good options out there that this, like, definitely did not have to be the number one guy. And in that press conference that they did today, like, Jeff Jackson was kind of talking about, like, oh, yeah, I talked to a ton of guys, and I've been talking to all of these, like, rehabilitation sort of, like, mentor instructors on, like, these types of situations, like basically being so close to a rape situation. And like they've said that he's all good and he's like much better now and he's gone through the right counseling, but it's part of that old hockey culture, and I think it could have been a lot easier to just completely lock these guys out of the league and completely not disregard like that time, but try and just move as far away from it as you can. So, I don't know. I think it was a mistake, but it's not like we're going to be able to do anything about it.
From what I've seen on Twitter the past 24 hours or so, is not that he never deserves another chance in the NHL, but maybe not right now, not this quickly after his suspension came to an end. And like you said, a market like Edmonton that is a giant team and really one of the favorites going into next season to win the Stanley Cup and have all the eyes and attention on it. But why do you think he was selected as that go-to number one choice? Like, what do you think Oilers entertainment group, Daryl Cates, Jeff Jackson, whoever made that decision, what did they see in him and to go, that's who we want to steer our ship for the next however many years?
I seriously don't know. I said it could be the 3 cups. Makes the most sense to me.
Do you think
But
because he's coming into
this
Edmonton
is
where similar to Chicago had that core group of players and they were close already to winning a Stanley Cup. He comes in, they win 3. Do you think Edmonton's going, we're right there, get somebody in with that experience, we win 3? Is that kind of the mindset?
think so. It's so hard to say why he's even in the league. I I don't think he should have been reinstated at all. Him and Quenneville. I
Do you want to give a little
it's just
backstory
it's
on that in case people
so
don't know?
yes. So it's the whole Kyle Beach. It's not even allegations. It's pretty much it happened,
Yeah.
and it was one of the trainers who pretty much sexually assaulted Kyle Beach, and I'm pretty sure another person who stayed anonymous. And Quenneville and Bowman both knew about this, um, and kind of just kept it quiet because business or whatever. I don't know, sick in the mind how they were thinking, but it's pretty much just that. That's pretty much the situation there. It's a big dark cloud, and NHL did the proper thing. They suspended them all. They all kicked them all out of the league, but now they're back. And
How long was the suspension for?
I should have googled that because my track of time is not good. Because I was trying to remember when Duncan Keith was in Edmonton. I couldn't even remember that, and that wasn't that long ago.
Let's
But
say about 4 years.
yeah, when it really like came about, because it happened a while ago.
Yeah.
Like it was kept under the
Yeah.
rug for a
think it
long time.
He last
2010.
worked in 2021 is when he was last working. So yeah, you're at 4 years.
Mhm.
So.
But yeah, so that whole situation, and I'm just looking at like a petition from people here in Edmonton of getting him out already, and there's 4,800 signatures, which is crazy.
Yeah,
And just the whole backlash on every social media is just it's kind of what you expected. I don't know how like Edmonton wanted this, because there was going to be backlash.
well,
I don't know
Reece
why you would want this, or
Reece touched on it there, and I to kind of go between the two of you, it's actually kind of good to see that backlash on social media and people not just accepting this, because I think sports in general and maybe hockey especially has that kind of that old hockey mentality, at least, of move it on under the rug, don't talk about it, that kind of side of things. So it's good that people, at least on social media's aspect, are kind of going, no, this is not okay, this is not acceptable, we are not going to allow this to be part of our franchise.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think like for these people to be like starting the petition and stuff, I think it's like really dope. Like I think it's cool that there's enough people out there that think that being able to do that can make an impact, and obviously it has. Like I've seen it going on like major hockey like accounts on social media, like getting that advertising out for it pretty much. But if we're being realistic, I don't think the petition is going to change much. I wish it did, but I think to go back to your thing, Liam, about like why, I think like how many cups did they? It was 3 and 6 years, I think.
3 and 5, 3 and 6, yeah.
Yeah, and like obviously to win one Stanley Cup, it takes a lot, and like the lineup was pretty insane when he first got there, but they did like obviously win 2 more cups after that, and it's hard to do that. And he obviously did make some good decisions, but like these free agency signings and all this extra stuff, like none of that's him. Like that's all the
Mhm.
aura of the Chicago Blackhawks. Like Brad Richards signing there for cheap. Like that's not because Stan Bowman convinced him. Like that's
Mhm.
because Patrick Kane and
Yeah.
Jonathan Tatum in their prime, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's just basically they're like, oh shit, like we don't who's the best that could handle this, and they're like, oh, I wonder who's like. It'd basically be like they could have just gone and got who's the GM in Pittsburgh when they were like buzzing.
Hmm.
I can't even remember. Jim Rutherford.
Yep.
I don't know. I just
I'm
think
pretty
yeah,
sure,
it's
yeah.
but I don't know. I just think it seems like more of a panic move and just like, oh, let's try and capitalize on this because obviously they have been a bit of a rehabilitation center before, like
Mhm.
signing Vertanen to the PTO and uh, Cassian after he got a DUI and
Yeah.
uh, um,
Evander Kane after his
Stephen
issues.
Kane,
even
yeah.
Corey
like
Perry after his problems. Yep.
yeah, like it's a bit of a rehabilitation center. It's starting to become, and I mean like it. I think that's good. Like people deserve second chances, but it's just like this is a whole nother level of second chances.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. It's one thing when a player goes through something themselves and they may get fined or they may get a suspension. We're talking about a 4-year ban from the NHL. That's not something that it gets taken that gets handed out lightly by the league. They don't do that every single day. So yeah, it's just a weird decision because coming off that playoff run,
Yep.
Edmonton was so unified behind this team. The
Mhm.
entire fan base was going, guys, we fully believe in you. You did so good this year. Uh, there was no one with any problems looking at the organization after that cup run. And now we're not even dropping the puck for the first game of the next season, and we're going, guys, what the fuck did you do this for? Like, you
Yeah.
could have gone for anybody else and kept that train moving, and you going into that season with no negativity surrounding your team. Now
Yeah.
there's going to be a question around this team going into game day one.
Yeah, that's a like a really big one because it's just reputation. That's such a big thing and like even like players wanting to come to Edmonton or even signing an extension. That's all those things add up. And I'm just trying to think like imagine Stan Bowman like sitting in his press box or whatever and the camera points at him. The fans are going to boo at him.
Yeah,
I don't see like any like no one's going to like him here. It's already clear as day as it's so weird. It feels like Peter Sorelli, but like not because he's a was a bad GM.
mm.
Just like
Because off ice
just
like
issues. Yeah,
the
almost
fans
like
just totally.
Glenn Saylor in the 80s. Like I think the fans
Oh,
hated Glenn Saylor.
uh,
And
yeah.
obviously this is exactly what you're saying, like two totally
Hmm.
different worlds. But
it was just a very from a hockey decision, from like a
Hmm.
sports decision, it doesn't make much sense because there's nothing dramatic about this guy in terms of, oh my
Yep.
god, this guy is gonna make incredible deals
Hmm.
and do something. This team is already damn good, and a
Yep.
GM coming in today is not going to turn some magic to make this team the best of the best. I mean, they're already very, very close to being the best. And then from an
Yeah.
off ice decision for marketing, from branding, there's going to be a couple companies and sponsors that go, do we want to
Yeah.
associate with the Edmonton Oilers this next season? Do we want to put our money behind this team that is propping up this individual? It opens so many questions, so many doors that did not need to be opened.
Yeah, I did just see this when I was doing some research on Stan Bowman, but like the sexual assault center here in Edmonton like
Mm-hmm.
released a full
They
statement, but
did.
like
no way.
that's that's just things that are gonna happen now.
Yep.
It's just you're bringing this dark cloud here in Edmonton, and it's not what they need. It's because, like you said, Liam, all the Oilers fans they're so united after this playoff run,
Like
and
I,
this is
I'm
just why are we doing
Mm,
this?
I'm just
And
And
not
going
even just
through.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just going through like the tweet that the Oilers, when the Oilers tweeted out that he was being appointed, every single response is negative. You can't
Hmm.
find
That's on the
one.
like
Yeah, you
the
can't
likes
find
below
one
than
that
the
is
replies.
good.
Yeah.
The and also I did see Jeff Jackson said that he didn't talk to any of the players before this, which I mean, obviously, management decision, you
Hmm.
don't go and talk to the players about, right? Maybe you bend the rules a little bit when this manager previously knew about a player getting
Yeah,
raped
yeah.
and nobody and didn't do anything about it. Like you'd think that there, and maybe Jeff Jackson's lying, whatever. But I just thought that was insane.
Because you got to think like McDavid had a word in Knobloch.
Well,
You would have to think,
you have
right?
two players
Like
who I think you should go talk to
Drysdale,
at least, right?
Hmm. You have two players
Drysdale's
that you
got to
should talk.
figure out a contract with this guy. Like
Hmm.
Hmm.
this is,
And yeah, yeah.
I
His
don't
his
know. I
his
think
first
this is
job, his first job as Edmonton GM will be the Leon Draisaitl extension. Fingers crossed,
Hmm.
everything goes well. That is something that you would want Draisaitl to be kind of sign off, going, yeah, you know what? I'm okay with this guy. I'm willing to sit down and work with him. I'm willing to talk business with him. It opens up another question of what if Leon goes, you know what, guys, this is bad for my brand. This is bad for my image. I can go anywhere else in this league and just move on from this deal, right?
Hmm.
It's an option now. Now that's
Yeah,
being very
definitely.
dramatic. That is definitely going worst case scenario, but it's still an option that's on the table. Yes, these are athletes who want to be on the best team, making the most money, playing the best hockey they can, but they're also people, and they also have
Like,
families on the outside who are
mhm.
going to be asking questions or having opinions.
Yeah, they're just gonna be like us,
Mm-hmm.
saying like this is terrible, and now you got the work for him.
Mm-hmm.
Which
oh yeah.
there's definitely gonna be people uncomfortable with that. There's definitely gonna be people's wives and family members who are just like, I don't want to be associated with this guy at all. So it's
Yeah,
just, it's something I don't understand. I don't think he's gonna be here for that long
I think
because
you're right.
the backlash is already insane. So might be seeing another GM who I don't think he gets fired right away.
Mhm.
I I don't. It's hard to say. They're probably spending so much money on him too, which makes it even worse. Man,
It's
So
yeah.
how long do you think it's gonna be until Quenneville gets back in?
I hope. I
I
hope
think
not.
I think I think he will never come back because as a head coach, you
Hmm,
are the face of the organization.
true.
Whereas GM, you have just as much power, if not more, almost. But you're up in that box. You're not
Yep.
on the bench, right? So, and Joel Quenneville, I mean, what a coach he was for that dynasty of Chicago, and he was.
Hmm.
Everyone talked so highly of him, and then when everything happened, you go, you're done. Your
Yep.
career's over, just like that.
Because yeah, Quenville was like an actual amazing coach.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
He was amazing with Chicago, and then went to Florida, and I think they had a
I think that
President's
Florida
Trophy
Panthers
season.
team, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he even didn't get to finish the year
Hmm.
because I
Yeah, I
think he
think you're
got
right.
yanked, but
Hmm.
I think they were doing it unreal.
But there's no way he's coming back.
I don't think so. Reece, did you have Bowman's best ever deals?
I just had like a couple like
Like,
one
because
thing that I figured out pretty
what
fast
stood
was that
out?
um honestly like you gotta look at the Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves deals. Like he kind of almost completely sewered the organization at the time with those contracts. Like the cap was not what it is today, and obviously they like deserve those after winning those Stanley Cups and stuff. But
Hmm.
he obviously mismanaged that team post Cup window because you look at it now, like Bedard is now cleaning it up, and it's 10 years later, pretty well.
Hmm.
Like, um, they traded away guys like uh, Cam Barker, who was sixth overall pick. That was like
Oh,
immediately as soon as he got in, pretty much. He didn't end up panning out, but he did trade him for Nick Leddy, which it was actually a good trade.
yeah. Nick Liddy was sick for them.
Yeah, but like Teuvo Teravainen, he got booted right away. He panic traded Artemi Panarin for
Yeah.
pretty much.
Well,
Oh, for
for
Sod.
Sod, that was
Mhm.
the big deal I kept seeing online was that's a terrible deal, and what if something happens like that to this Edmonton
Well,
team?
and that's because he traded, I'm pretty sure, Sod for Artem Anisimov. I think it could be two. I could be mishmashing these trades together, but anyways, like he's not very patient with these prospects, and if it's not working out, I think it's like boom, 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 something's happening. So obviously he's an offensive GM, but I think the bad outweighs the good in some of these situations. Obviously, it's very hard to win 3 Stanley Cups in 6 years, and he managed the team well, but
Mhm.
I think a lot of that is having a market like Chicago and two players like Kane and Taves.
In their primes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Again, which you can completely compare to Edmonton. So maybe they're just looking at that situation and just saying maybe Stan Bowman was the answer.
Yeah.
But Oilers are currently first in the odds to win the Stanley Cup this year for plus 800. Surprising, this one like surprised me a lot because I just looked at it before we started recording this, and New Jersey Devils is second
Wow.
Interesting.
at plus 900.
I talked to a guy
I
last week,
mean,
and he was selling me on the New Jersey Devils being the team to beat. So I was like, all right.
They're a
All
great
right,
team.
sir. He's also a Maple Leaf
Don't get me
fan,
wrong.
so I don't really trust him that much.
But yeah, Oilers first odds to win the cup.
I don't think many people
It's
would
just-
argue with it. If Drysdale gets
No.
re-signed, it's hard to argue with the business that has already been done by Jeff Jackson, right?
He's done fantastic.
I don't know why he just wasn't given. Like, he didn't want the job. I don't.
He
get
didn't
it.
want the
I
job,
don't get it. Like
but he still will have say in trades.
100%. Yeah.
he's
He's
basically
fantastic.
he's his boss, right? Like
Mhm.
Hmm.
He's got a
Jeff
better
Jackson
name.
is he's the president of hockey operations, I think. I think that's
Yeah.
what. Anyways,
It's a fancy
he's
title. It gets
basically
paid a
like,
couple million a
Yeah,
year. He's doing
it's
things.
yeah,
What a good
but
job.
he's like he's higher up on the totem pole than Bowman at least. But I do think fuck, I do this every single time we record. I forget what I'm about to say. I can't remember. Skip. Go on to the
Skip.
next.
Talk about how good the Oilers are going to be this year. Is that what it was?
Is there
Oh
anything
my
No.
apart from
Oilers.
the Oilers? I know we're going to continue to talk about the Oilers. Is there any other major NHL news that has been going on since we last recorded a week ago?
Yeah, I got a couple things here. The last coaching spot has been finally taken from the Columbus Blue Jackets. Dean Evason is going to Columbus. He spent the last 5 years, I think it was, in Minnesota. He honestly did pretty well there. I think he's a great coach. He really made a competitive Minnesota team. I don't think he's never really got it over the hump though in the playoffs. So that's the big question mark about him. But that's nothing to worry about in Columbus right now. He's there to start just giving some structure to this team that had a really down year with injuries and whatnot. And Johnny Gaudreau playing really poor, same line A. But yeah, it's just last coaching spot taken up finally, and this coaches carousel going on in the NHL. I stopped keeping count. There was one day where there's like 3 coaching changes, and I'm like, okay, I'm done now. I kept count since the beginning of this year how many changes there's been. It's insane.
The NHL is busy
And
this offseason.
it is not a good. It's a hard title to keep, NHL head coach. It is definitely
you
not
definitely gotta
not a
win.
secure job. Hmm. Yeah, you're getting paid for results. But yeah, Dean Evason coming in for
One of the
Columbus.
scariest human beings in the world, I think.
Yeah, right. He was like a grinder when he played, right? He was like a full on enforcer. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't think he took
Hartford.
a lot of. I think he was pretty aggressive.
Hmm. So yeah, looking at him now, he's like, okay, I do not want to mess with this guy.
You need that
Well,
sometimes,
and
though,
even
head coach.
Hmm.
Johnny Gaudreau, was it last year that Mike Babcock got like hired and then booted immediately?
Yeah, it was in September or
Yeah,
October.
okay. And so like for Johnny Gaudreau, like it's literally he's gone to Columbus, Mike Babcock, psych, this random dude, bad season, canned immediately, and then you get Dean Evanson, who's like
Tough.
the scariest looking coach in the world.
Coming from Calgary.
Yeah. Tough luck for the guy.
Sutter. He's probably the
Sutter, Bob
strictest.
Hartley, and I don't even remember. I can't remember that guy that like kicked Akeem Aliu. I can't remember what that guy's name was. Anyways, yeah, tough go for
Johnny Hockey.
All he's missing now is Torts.
Yeah, he could use some Torts.
I still love Torts. He'll forever be probably my favorite NHL coach.
He's genuinely like become one of my favorite coaches as well. I hated his guts growing up.
Torts in
now
Philadelphia just works.
Yep.
Like,
ever since he got hired in Philly, I've loved every single part of it. So the Four Nations is happening this February. Finally, some best on best hockey finally gonna happen. Canada announced some their assistant GM Julian Brisebois and player personnel Kyle Dubas. One and only.
Say Stan Bowman was the player personnel.
That would be crazy.
What does a GM do for international hockey?
You pretty much just put the team together.
Like,
that's all you do.
I guess so.
So
the head coach
and
is putting it together.
Don Sweeney is the GM. That was announced a bit ago, but the three of them. But I Brisebois and Dubas, they're pretty extremely after the Stamkos stuff with Brisebois. They're pretty controversial in that way.
Yeah,
they're like, hold on.
Hockey rolls.
Dubas must like really connect well with the players, and I mean, it makes sense. He's pretty young, and you can probably relate to him and stuff. But
yeah, totally. I see that.
For this guy, you can call me the biggest Dubas hater in the world, I guess, but I just can't believe the opportunities that this guy keeps getting, and just like, I really hope he doesn't blow this one. Obviously, he's not going to be the guy that's like naming the team, but yeah, so lame. Like exactly what we've been talking about for the last 30 minutes. There's so many good options.
The thing with Dubas, I think firing him out of Toronto was like that wasn't the issue. I think Heath was the issue for the main part of the last 5 or so years this team has been going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, immediately getting even a promotion in Pittsburgh, that was crazy. And now, see how this Pittsburgh team's going to do this year.
Pretty quiet.
Pretty quiet. They got Kevin Hayes.
Sidney Crosby's going off pretty quiet. Speaking of Sidney Crosby, did you see Alex Ovechkin's quote?
I did.
They asked him
which one?
They asked Ovechkin what business they want the Capitals to complete before the season starts. He goes, "I want Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid to play alongside me." Ovechkin, that would be perfect, honestly.
Love that guy. Oh, did you guys see the KHL versus the Russian NHL players all charity game? I did not know. I didn't know that was going on at all until I saw the Panarin highlight where you just like lacrosse, whatever. I don't even know how to describe that.
Like
spinorama lacrosse shot.
That was actually crazy.
I had no idea that was going on. I kind of wish I watched it because that looked fun. It looked like a fun charity game.
I'd never seen that before. And generally, the only Russian charity games that I see is like Vladimir Putin coming out and everybody just lets it break away.
Those are my favorite clips ever.
It'd be like Vladimir Putin has like 12 goals, 0 assists. The goalie's like jumping out of the way of the puck.
But like, come on, as a grown-ass man, if you're getting put on breakaways and the goalie's diving the wrong way, you're kind of going, what am I doing out here? Like, what's the point of this?
No, that guy's delusional. He's probably like,
yes.
We're getting banned in Russia, boys. Round the Rinks is not going to Russia.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
I believe the correct response is womp womp.
Yep.
Yeah, is there any other like
I still got a couple
Okay,
things.
yeah.
We talked about this when Dallas got eliminated from the playoffs, but Joe Pavelski officially calls it quits.
Great
And
career. Great career.
I know we did talk about it a little bit and talk about his career and whatnot, but just a class act is pretty much the best way to describe this player. And it's sad to see him go. I love Pavelski so much. He's one of my favorite players. I love the way he plays. He's so slow, but he still gets it done.
In
And that's pretty much how his whole career was.
the next few seasons here, we're gonna see a few pretty big names leave
Mhm.
the NHL. Like we're waiting for the Crosby Ovechkins to leave, and
Oh God.
that'll be a tough day for the NHL. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just the cycle. I mean, it's you had your moment in the sun, but it's time to go off to the sunset, right?
Yeah. You have anything to say about Pavelski, Reece?
Um, Honestly, just when you think of underrated, like I think of Joe Pavelski. Like
Yeah.
I would always see those things where it was like, who has the most points from 2010 to 2020 in the entire NHL? And they would always get stuck at like number 3, and it was always Joe Pavelski. Like this guy was so consistent
Mhm.
every year that he played. Best tipper, I think, in the history of the NHL. Like
Totally.
it should be watching him and seeing how he was so productive, not being the most skilled skating wise, especially, and not being the biggest guy in the world. Like, I think he carved out a pretty incredible career, and any of his teammates love him. One thing
Mhm.
I did notice that when he posted like a thank you for everything Dallas and San Jose on his Instagram, all of those pictures, I thought it was a little weird. It didn't have Logan Couture in any of them.
Oh.
And maybe I'm like some TMZ like drama stir, but I didn't think that was a little odd. Like as a guy
Mhm.
who like he basically gave the captaincy to.
Yeah. I
Um,
I don't know.
but
I would have nothing to say
rumor
about that.
boys.
Yeah. Jeez. TMZ Reese.
Yeah, I spot the little things.
Did
But
you see
yeah, for
the new
oh,
logo for the San Jose Sharks?
new logo?
Well, at least it's their new logo on Twitter. I saw that a few days ago. I don't know if they were gonna be branding it with. It looks fantastic. I gotta be honest with you. I think it's a great little rebrand. I don't know. I don't
Oh.
know if
Yeah, I don't know if it's an official like wear on the jersey. That is actually really
I
nice.
think it's really cool.
I don't know if that's gonna be on any jerseys or anything, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's a nice little
Just
logo.
the little shark fin.
I'm trying to find. I saw something from the San Jose. There it is. So the San Jose Barracuda is the affiliate team of
Mhm.
the greatest Twitter account
Yeah.
in sports. Oh my god, it's so funny. But they're doing like they're posting AI generated images of barracudas for like the week. The one was a barracuda swimming with an ice cream cone, and it was just great. Like it's just great.
That's how you know it's the off season.
Yeah, like, if this barracuda with an ice cream cone gets 15,000 views on Twitter, we'll leak information we're not supposed to. Like what? It's just
I love that.
it's just dumb.
That's
No,
some
no,
pretty
no.
good. That's how a media person keeps their job
Yeah,
throughout the
no,
off
their
season.
Yeah.
social media is very good.
There's some really great social media managers out
Yeah.
in
Seriously.
NHL.
Especially like those smaller teams, like they get
Mhm.
their name out there. Always go back to the Savannah Bananas,
Savannah
the
Bananas.
greatest team in baseball. Oh my
Mhm.
god, they're good.
No idea what league they play in. Don't care.
But they sell out MLB stadiums every day. The greatest thing ever. Anyways, that was all. That was my tangent on San Jose hockey.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't even remember. Joe Pavelski.
Joe Pavelski.
I could
Yeah,
end it on
yeah.
here real quick for
You
him.
guys have?
Uh,
Do you think he makes the Hall of Fame?
I think so.
What
I
did he win?
he has
So,
nothing. But
silver,
he
2
he
silver medals.
does
Really?
he does he has the most playoff goals as an American born player.
Pretty impressive.
So and he was a 7th round pick, which
Yeah.
I mean, that's impressive enough to have that
Yeah,
long of
but
a career. So, just props to I'm sure we'll probably see him in management. I don't
I think
I
you're right.
he'd be perfect for that. Like, even a coach. He's just so smart and knows so much about the game.
Knows the game. Yeah.
He's a great golfer too. Like, I think he's just the best NHL golfer.
Did you see the DeChambeau and Donald Trump golf?
Yeah, I did see that.
What is happening? Like,
I don't know. He's trying to grow his YouTube channel. I love DeChambeau.
it's just
Bryson.
wild.
Good time.
Is there
If I had
anything
to
else you
You
want
can
to
get
talk
a hold
about?
of Trump.
If we do, you want to go back to the Oilers at all, or are you good for that
Uh,
entire situation?
I think we're good to talk.
Yep.
I think we're. I think
Just
you got one more thing.
yeah, I remember what I was gonna say. Like Bowman still has like there's still stuff he's got to get done, right? Like there's the Drysdale extension, obviously priority number one, and then you still got Holloway and Broberg that have to resign, and then
Mm,
like you're already over the cap right now,
Mhm.
so you got to move somebody else out. Like there is still a lot of stuff that he's got to get done. So I think we're gonna
yeah.
be able to tell pretty early here, like what this situation is gonna look like.
Mhm. Totally. Yeah. It's just again, he's working with the whole team with Jeff Jackson.
For sure, yeah.
I don't see him doing like anything bad. Like, I don't see like a Milan Lucic signing
No,
anytime soon.
I I kind of think that with the amount of time they've had to get this, I think he's pretty much walking into it and basically getting given. You've got A, B, C, and D.
Mhm.
These are your options. You got no other choice. Like this is what we figured out, and like you're going to go along with this sort of thing.
Totally.
And if you are Bowman, you're probably going, I want to stay quiet for at least this first season and just go under the
Yeah.
radar and just kind of get myself back into the business
Yep.
without blowing myself up again, right?
I totally. He's probably gonna be quiet the entire time. There's not gonna be a lot of press conferences with him.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think ultimately at the end of the day, what is important to be said is the backlash that is coming from this appointment is warranted and it's valid, and it's good to see from a fan base that really cares about their team and their franchise being very protective over it and saying we want the best for this team, not only on the ice but off the ice as well. And if you don't fit that narrative and that character type, then we don't have to make you fit into this organization. We can go to other options. So
Mhm.
it's very interesting to see that how the fan base and how the ownership group kind of did not see eye to eye on that appointment.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
No, I think you're right. It's definitely there's a lot of communication that goes on behind the scenes, and sometimes it's hard to tell how they can
Mhm.
still seemingly fuck it up.
If Reece gives me his nod of approval, I'm doing well in my
Yeah.
life.
I got a couple more things. I think 4. I got 4 things written down here.
Hey yo.
Really?
Let's keep going. One of my favorite names in the NHL right now, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Signs a 5-year deal. I knew you were gonna have a crack out of
It's
that one,
like a
Liam.
Scrabble joke.
Yep, Ukko-Pekka
It
Luukkonen.
gets you 7,000 points in Scrabble.
Yeah, 5-year deal worth 4.75 per year. So the 5 years was pretty whoa out of nowhere for me because he's a young kid and he still has a lot of time to grow. But of course, he's a goalie, and giving 5 years to a goalie is always risky.
Mm-hmm.
I
But
think yeah, I think he's pretty well been the backup there for like the last 2 years,
yeah,
and him and Levi kind of were splitting a little bit of time. Levi was kind of all over the place last year, but
hmm
he's kind of been 1A, 1B sort of thing for the last couple of years. And I think he's definitely deserving of a contract now. Like he
yeah,
played really well last season, and
yeah,
if Buffalo like they got to commit to somebody at some point, you can't keep losing guys like Allmark to Boston, and they just go on to be sick. So
yeah.
you got to pay
That-
6K.
He had a He played 54 games last year and had a 910 save percentage. So
Yeah,
that's a really
That's not bad.
respectable
a really bad
year.
Buffalo team last year.
Yeah, and that was his like first pretty much full season as a starter A. I don't know how you really would say it, but
But he could
good for him
also come out next year and have a 8.79 save percentage and
because
like
goalies are goalies.
Blow
yeah.
out his knee in game number 1, right?
Mm,
Goalies I think are going to become like I don't know, I'm kind of low on information here, but the running back market in the NFL, right? Like
mhm,
it's so cheap. Like running backs are not paid anywhere they should be because of their like longevity and you don't know where it's gonna go from year to year. Like
totally.
I think goaltending is pretty much becoming like I don't think there's gonna be another Sergei Bobrovsky deal
No.
like anytime soon. I'm excited to see
Eh,
what Shesterkin gets.
Shesterkin maybe, yeah.
Mm,
Yeah,
But
that could be
goalies
the
are
last big
they're
deal for a while, maybe.
mm.
it's hard to get a superstar goalie and just a consistent goalie even at that. It's it's a tough bargain this time
Well,
and,
if anyone does find one,
good for
anyone does find a superstar goalie, send him to Edmonton.
send him to
We'll
Edmonton.
give you the mustache in exchange.
Sign me.
Oh,
I'm now officially a free agent, so
Oh my goodness!
hey,
yeah. Yeah.
no.
I didn't get drafted, so and that was my last draft year.
Damn it!
Damn it.
Yeah,
I know.
worry,
I was waiting for my phone to ring. I was
Don't
like,
worry,
"Oh,
don't worry.
seventh round maybe?" I'm like, "Good. Come on."
We're gonna offer you a 10x10 coming out of
Yeah.
Edmonton.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nate. I can't go to school. Have you drafted to the big leagues?
Yeah, going to Edmonton, going to Oilers. Sorry, not a big deal.
Welcome to oil country.
Yeah.
Noah Pomeroy.
You'll be broadcasting about me.
Yeah. I'll become your super agent. Don't worry. I'll get you some good deals.
Great deal.
Super producer.
You can talk to Stan Bowman.
We'll get you like sponsorship deals with like I don't know. We'll get you Mercedes-Benz sponsorship. You look like a Mercedes kind
Yeah,
of guy.
there we go. I love Mercedes. I'll take anything, honestly.
Okay, what else do you got, Noah?
So we were kind of a very underrated signing here from Vancouver. Daniel Sprong going for 1 year at 975K. I love this guy. I am a big Daniel Sprong enjoyer. I feel like this guy is he's a bona fide 20 goal scorer. And he can easily pot you 20 goals if he stays healthy for an entire season, which is the big question mark with him. But yeah, just getting him for 1 year under $1 million, I think that's a fantastic signing for Vancouver. I'm not sure if you anything about that, Reece.
Like I think it's a guy that has been very consistent in these limited roles that he's had for the last couple of years. Like even in Seattle, like he played really well, and I think he was only getting like 12 minutes of ice time, sort of thing, a game. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was like his per 60 minutes were like some of the best in the league. Like I think the thing kind of sucks. He goes to the Canucks. I'm not a big Canucks guy, obviously, but I think that it is kind of telling a little bit, like when a guy jumps around so much.
Mhm.
Like I think that is a little bit weird.
Yeah, for a guy who's like he's a goal scorer. Like he's really good. And he's an NHLer. He's just trying to find a home, I guess. And he's been on so many different teams. I'm like looking, I had no idea he was on the Ducks. Not one clue at all, but yeah, this is gonna be his like fifth team, I'm pretty sure.
How old is he?
He's decently young. I'm pretty sure he's 27, so he's
Yeah.
pretty much just right in his prime now.
There's a lot of teams that would be going under the age of 30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's been bouncing around a lot of teams, and I'm surprised he just hasn't found a home or hasn't found like a full big contract yet.
Yeah.
But I guess like, again, that is like he has had some injury issues. That's
Yeah, for
the
sure.
biggest one.
That's gonna be
But I remember him and like Ovechkin, like they were like best buds when he was in
Mhm.
Washington for his couple of years. And there's like this whole debacle of like Ovechkin wanting him to wear his number, like pick number 8 for me, and whatnot. And he's like, I can't pick that.
Well, and
Stuff
I
like
think
that. Like,
I watched like this like pre-draft thing because I think he got drafted in 2015. It was him and Nick Merkley. And
oh,
anyways, like this is just a long time ago. Two guys that just kind of Nick Merkley kind of didn't really pan out as well as Sprong did, but cool to see Sprong like all the way through, just kind of like play so well in these roles and never get a like advanced opportunity with anything.
mm-hmm. Totally agree. Uh, so speaking of the draft, this stat blew my mind. 18 out of the 32 players from the first round this year from this draft has signed NHL deals already.
Wow.
18. So that's 18-year-olds
Mhm.
now in the NHL or have NHL deals, which I don't know if that's a record or anything. That seems insanely high.
It just says that the talent is getting younger and younger, and
Mm-hmm.
the
Totally.
product coming out of these youth teams is just next level right now.
It's like because now it's so much more of a skill game now. Like you look at like Zach Benson last year. That would never happen if it was 10 years ago. Having an
Right.
18-year-old who's like 5'8", not really even grown into his body yet. It's just like, yeah, you're in the NHL now. You're playing every game.
Well, and I think part of it also goes out to this salary cap being so low these last few years.
Mm-hmm.
These entry level contracts are so valuable to these teams
True.
because you can see them up and down and up and down and up and down, and they're only making 800K and 900K. So,
Yeah.
like to a team like Edmonton, like I I obviously doubt that there's gonna be some of these guys getting used, but like those small little contracts, they're gonna be huge for when, especially Draisaitl gets re-upped and these big boys have big contracts. Like 800K on a player is a steal.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way to look at it, just contract wise. And now you're like burning the 3 years as quick as possible on a player and try to get him signed. That's
Before they can
also
fully develop, and
yeah.
then
Then you can
Mhm,
lock him into that 8-year deal, which is now
exactly, full NHL franchise mode mentality.
yeah. Honestly, yeah. Pretty
I'm playing a
much.
lot of that lately. I might just
Yeah,
be
same. No, I am too. NHL 24 has been my life for the last pretty much ever since the season ended. Since I've been out of school.
I've been doing a San Jose one, and they're finally getting good. So
Oh
there's
yeah?
hope.
There's hope.
There's hope for Rex fans.
I'm currently doing a Utah, the hockey
Oh,
club.
yeah, I did a Utah one
Yeah.
actually.
So
It's
that's
sick.
what I'm up to right now. Sorry, Liam.
No, I do the soccer version of that.
Yeah, I love FIFA.
Yeah.
I was a
Since,
big FIFA guy growing up.
since we're talking about games, quick, I bought Madden college
College
football.
football.
Yeah.
It's sick.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
want it
good.
so bad.
Sick.
Oh, I recommend it.
Our favorite YouTuber, Peyton Schwartz, has been playing it a lot. You've been seeing him on Twitter doing it.
Of course, hey.
Peyton Schwartz.
Uh,
Big shout out.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. He was probably in one of your interviews,
Oh
right?
yeah, he's been in a couple. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he
Jeez.
actually does watch sometimes our stuff. He said.
Nice.
He says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe if he sees
Why
this,
wouldn't he?
get him on the show. We'll give him an interview.
No, we don't. promote him.
No.
But I mean, okay, I'll use that as a little launch point. Hopefully by next week we will be having an interview, our first interview on this channel.
Ooh.
We're trying to figure out times and everything like that. It seems to be a bit of a mess, but hopefully we have a couple different interviews lined up in terms of Edmonton, more specifically, but NHL in general, and we're gonna hopefully try to start some new content, new forms of content. I know we've talked about this now for like last 3 different podcasts we've done and it just hasn't come out yet, but we are hopefully going to be doing these different
thinking about
types of content and not only having the podcast like you've been watching, but also like more interactive videos, more entertainment purpose videos in a sense. So hopefully That can happen within the next week here or so. But yeah, it's middle of summer. Things are busy. There's a lot going on. People are working. People are on vacation.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's fingers crossed that happens. Is there anything else, or should we wrap this one up?
I got a little like an idea that came to my mind. I don't know if I want to say this on air right now, but
Oh.
a golf match.
Woo.
5
Sandbagger.
of us, a sandbagger.
I think I lose that hopelessly, but I'm always down for it.
I'm
I
bad at
haven't
golf,
gone
but
once this year.
I
so-
haven't
But,
been
like-
in years.
I've gone a couple times this year, but it's not good.
Not
It
enough
has
to
not
get
been
the
good.
rust off from last year.
But I feel like that'd be hilarious.
I'm trying to
That'd be
organize.
awesome.
I'm trying to organize my soccer team's year-end party to be disc golf because I think disc golf looks like so much fun. I'm like, let's just go out for an afternoon and huck some frisbees. Like,
Like we can do a scram, like we can like team up, do best ball maybe that make it go faster.
if
It'd be
this
fun.
video gets 5 likes, we will consider it.
Yeah, if it gets 5 likes, we
Across
will think
all-
about it.
All platforms. No, take us
5
out of
likes.
here. Come on.
Anyways,
Oh,
yeah.
wait, sorry.
Oh,
We didn't talk about Quinn Byfield. His extension.
that was
I think
huge.
Yeah. I don't know if you have the number in front of you now.
I have it memorized at 6.5. I want to say whatever it is. It's a great deal. It's 5 years or 6 years.
5 year,
5 years.
31.25 million.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
But honestly, great deal. Like, I don't know the exact number. It's around 5 to 6 million, but
6.25.
There it is.
6.25, yeah.
whew. But absolute steal. I think this is an absolute steal. He didn't get the full 8 years, which a lot of people. I'll compare him to Slavkovsky. I think that's probably the best comparison you're going to get from him because he just signed his massive 8-year contract extension, but Byfield didn't get that. He only got the 5 years, which good for him because I feel like most teams want the full 8 or 7 years because the cap's going up. So Byfield in 5 years, he's going to cash in, and this guy's only getting better. He is an absolute stud, and he's finally had his breakthrough year this year after so many years of people calling him a bust and oh, he's terrible. It's second overall pick. He's not going to be bad. He's he's an absolute stud. He's big power forward. Love him to death. But again, that's a great thing to keep on to. And for 5 years, it's a great thing to build around now. And for low AAV.
For sure. And I mean, like, for a guy that's only going to get better, like you're saying, like, it made me sad seeing that as an Oilers fan. I think this is an unreal player who's like huge. Like, this is a guy that can shut down your team's number 1 center any given night and like also put up 3 points. Like, I think he's going to be a stud for a long time, and exactly like you were saying, he's going to get paid in 5 years' time.
Yep. He also scored, I think, one of the best goals this season. I'm kind of blanking on it right now. I'm gonna watch it back now after this.
It was against, I think, Columbus, and he puts it through somebody's stick. It might have been Provorov.
Something crazy.
And then on his knees, backhand. Like, it was so sick.
So I'm definitely gonna watch that back after this. But good for him, and good for the organization for. It's just good for both parties.
Yeah, no, you're right. Get paid. It's not like he's deserving. Like, it's not like he's led this team in scoring or something like this is a contract that he deserves.
Yep.
It's not one of these like, oh, let's hope and pray like he pans out into this, like a Slavkovsky deal, which I would probably rather do those ones because if you're a Kings fan when Byfield turns 28, you are going to be watching a big contract.
I'm curious if he's an RFA or UFA after the 5 years. I assume he's unrestricted.
I think unrestricted.
Yeah. because he's
I would
yeah
assume. Yeah, or maybe
uh,
not. He's 21.
he's pretty young. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to. This is where I wish Cap Friendly was still around. I can see that like instantly. But
I gotta get more familiar with it.
rest in
With
peace.
Harpedia.
I'm gonna miss you. Yeah, I guess we can end it on like a rest in peace to Cap Friendly.
Rest in
Because-
peace, Cap Friendly.
I will remember you.
I'm gonna miss that website so much. I think it fully shut down after our last podcast. I remember putting in our group chat just like rest in peace or Cap Friendly. I was like, damn it.
Bad day.
Yeah, it was a sad day. Now everybody's gonna hate the Capitals.
Exactly. Fuck the Caps.
Well,
Anyways,
yeah, take us
exciting
out of here,
stuff. Exciting stuff for Around the Rinks coming up in the next couple of weeks. This whole month, off season it's going. Enjoy the weather if you're in Edmonton. Hopefully you're safe if you're in Jasper area. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.
Bye. That has been another episode of Around the Rinks, your go-to hockey podcast. We'll see you next time.